Now I'm back.
Still up there, here. There we go.
Okay. Okay, we're back. Can everyone see and hear me? Let me know. Carlos says yes. Awesome. Very good. So we had some questions before, and for some reason I can't see them.
Oh,
can you see those older questions, Ross?
Question from Mark. Now that might be covered in the talk, I added rice with butter for the first time in months and had an itchy mouth, which I have not had ever before as a reaction.
Yeah.
Found it interesting.
Yeah. So someone commented they cooked Catherine tried this resistant starch recipe and had a reaction, a itchy mouth reaction. So yeah, it's interesting. Again, the thing is, there's a couple variables there. That's the problem. I think we need to try and isolate them. So maybe try the rice again alone with coconut oil and no butter, and see if you can figure out if it was the butter or the rice. Someone asked, if I eat a small amount of reintroduced food for several days and no reactions, why can't you incorporate the food indefinitely? No, you can. That's an indication you can incorporate the food indefinitely. The thing is, as we go through the process, you kind of want to go back to baseline in order to test your next food. So, yeah, if it's a food that you're not reacting to, that is fine. That is fine. But again, it's, if you keep stacking variables, then it gets harder to figure out too. So, I think generally it's test a food, try it. If it's okay, make note that's a food you can have, and then go. I just think you should go back to baseline. But I mean, there's no absolute rules here, so you certainly can try and do different things. Just we want to make sure we don't have a delayed reaction or something, or it's a cumulative effect. But yeah, if you do that initial test and you're fine, I think it's fine to eat that food. Yeah, how to cook sweet potatoes. Yeah, I think it's the same principle you can maybe try to make them more resistant. Same the way you would cook a potato. So you cook it normally, and then cool it, and then just reheat it partially. Don't reheat it above 130 degrees. Just warm it up. That could make that starch even a little more resistant as well. I mean, again, with sweet potato, if you're just trying it for the first time, you could just do it normally and see also. See what happens there, and if it does elicit a problem, a reaction, then you can try that too. Could it be eaten cold? Yeah, it can be eaten cold. Mm-hmm. Yeah, once you do the cooling, that's fine. Any of those things, you do that, you cook them and then cool them, you can eat them all cold, that's fine. Some people like to, want to have them warm. So I'm just saying, if you do reheat it, don't overheat it, because then you kind of defeat the purpose of what you've done. Yes. Other thoughts, comments, questions. Again, all this will be in a post. We're going to put that today up in the... I was talking with Ross. We're going to actually create a new module for this in the program, because I think there's enough content, and we're going to continue to explore it. So I think it's worthy of its own.
Yeah, I think it deserves its own space.
Its own space, for sure. Thoughts, comments, questions, ideas? Is anybody freaking out about the prospect of reintroducing things? When I posted to Facebook, there were a few people who were like, oh my God, I'm freaked out about trying to reintroduce. which I can understand. I mean, it is a big step back, but I think we have to do it. And again, I think, the point I was trying to make was this is a long-term project, and it's, ebb and flow. We got to think of it, I think, as cyclic. That's like you're not going to be done with this. Yeah, I think, well, this is not going to be the last webinar just because I've extended the program because of this content. So we're going to be having another one. I think we'll have another one next week. But yeah, I'm not going to take away access to the program. So you guys will have access for as long as you want. I don't believe in taking it away.
So indefinite, right?
What's that?
Indefinite access?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's completely indefinite. At some point, we might have to update the material, so
right.
Make some changes there. But yeah, as long as you want. Okay. Someone says they're looking forward to reintroducing, trying to remember what you used to eat. Yeah, and that's for sure. Please talk more about butyrate and how to use it. Yeah, so, well, butyrate exists naturally in the gut, and basically it feeds those cells. It's what's called short-chain fatty acid. It feeds the cells in the gut, and the product that I told you about is just you're actually taking butyrate, and it also has vitamin E and calcium, which helps it be absorbed by the intestinal lining. So you take a couple of those. You want to take them on an empty stomach for best results. And then the resistant starches that we're talking about also help feed and nourish the butyrate. So I think this is one of those things we have a couple of ways to approach it. Yeah. That's good stuff. I think we want to build it up too. It's a longer term project too. It's not just a one-time thing. Okay. Good question there.
I think this content probably caught people sort of off guard, so don't really know what to add.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, there's a lot to think about. That's a lot to process.
Right.
And again, it's all got it all written down too, so you can see it. And we're gonna have to experiment. I got a bunch of the Chinese herbs I've shared with a couple people that I've spoke to so far. I ordered a bunch of the herbs for that formulation. I'm making some for myself, and I'm going to make it available to you guys if you want to try that Chinese herbal formula. I think the interesting thing about that too is it works on multiple fronts because it helps balance blood sugar. It helps repair the damage of cortisol or prednisone and from too many stress hormones and the impact of that on the gut. And it helps modulate the immune system. It's pretty amazing. At least on paper, what it says it does. So I've taken it in the past for completely unrelated issues for the kidneys and for things of that nature. So it's really, I'm excited. It's a really, really interesting discovery for me.
Very cool.
As an herbalist, yeah. Any other question? Any other thoughts? Has anybody tried reintroducing things with thing? What do you think of using glutathione recommended for leaky gut with Hashimoto's? Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of glutathione. Virtually everyone has been doing glutathione. So yeah, I mean, glutathione is helpful for helping, it helps with the regulatory part of the immune system. So those Tregs. It helps to boost that. It helps the body to get rid of toxins. It's one of those things that's not specifically mentioned with regard to oral tolerance by itself. But I mean, it certainly, like vitamin D, it helps. It definitely does things in the direction that we want. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of glutathione. There are different forms of glutathione. There's an oral form that's mostly absorbed by the liver. There's a cream. I have all those in my store. I have the L.Ac glutathione, which is mostly absorbed by the liver. The Oxycell, which is a cream which you can rub right on the thyroid. And in fact, you can probably rub it right on the gut too. The name of the Chinese herbal formula, the base formula is called Liu Wei Dihuangwan. And then there are all these different variations, Bai Wei, Dihuangwan, and Jingwei, Zhenqiwan. But these are all variations of that main formula. They just kept coming up over and over again. So really interesting with regard to this question. I've come across some stuff online that suggests that EFT can help autoimmune diseases quite rapidly. Yeah, I did. In fact, we did a video on EFT that I shared with everyone. It's in the, where is that? We put that in the bonus area, Ross?
It is in the bonus area.
Yeah, that one's in the bonus area. And in fact, it reminds me, I was supposed to do a second follow-up one too, which I didn't do yet. So I'm glad you reminded me of that. But yeah, I'm a big fan of EFT. Yeah. Could you speak about EBV and Hashimoto's and the benefit or not of taking antivirals for the EBV? Any suggestion for specific herbs? Yeah, I did an entire post on the herpes virus, and EBV is a herpes virus. And Hashimoto's, it's an in-depth post. If you read that post, I give specific suggestions for herbs to treat EBV. It's in, go in the group. I don't know. We could post. Could you find that, Ross, and put the URL?
Yeah, sure.
It's in. If you just go to the website and search for herpes and Hashimoto's, it'll come up.
Yeah, absolutely. Going right now.
Okay. Yeah, Ross is gonna find the URL and just post it here for you. Could you discuss a little about the variations of the formula? For example, Liu Wei is for indeficiency. The other next. Yeah, right. So Liu Wei Dihuangwan is for kidney insufficiency. It's like the base formula normally. Bai Wei Dihuangwan adds. Actually, basically, the Jingwei Chenqiwan and Bai Wei Dihuangwan are both very similar variations. They add cinnamon cortex. One adds cinnamon cortex, the other adds cinnamon herbs. So there's two herbs in Chinese medicine that are cinnamon. One is rogui and one is guizi. Both are warming. The rogui is thought to be more warming, so more tonifying yang. So Bai Wei and Jingwei are very similar. It's just that one has guizi and the other has rogui. The Bai Wei has rogui. So the thought there is, so you're not just doing kidney yin, you're also doing kidney yang. The traditional versions of the formula have an herb called fudzi also, which is toxic, so I'm not a huge fan of it. Especially for long-term use, especially for people with autoimmunity, we want to avoid toxins. And then I'm also looking at some modifications based on the pharmacology, like Zhishi, which is immature orange peel, is good for food stagnation. It's good for things in the gut, digestive issues, help with digestion. Yes, that's the EBV post. And the interesting thing again is that with these formulations, it's like this is not something that's traditionally used from a Chinese medical perspective. Like, oral tolerance and autoimmunity are not things that I mean, yang deficiency and yin deficiency, I suppose, in some measure. But I mean, the endocrine system is yang essentially, so hypothyroidism is yang and qi deficiency. But the problem with some of the common qi tonics is they're Th1, Th2 stimulants, and people don't do well with them. So it kind of have a different way of looking at these Chinese herbal formulas with regard to autoimmunity, because it doesn't, like, the game has changed, So what's fascinating to me about the pharmacology here is that it helps with oral tolerance, so it helps boost the T regulatory cells. It helps. One of the things that Romania and some of the other herbs in the formula do is to clear circulating immune complexes too. So they clear out these immune cells that are causing flare-ups. So it's really, really interesting. It shows you again, like, everything it's all about yin and yang. So yeah, we're nourishing yin and yang with these formulations. There's the EBV post. Yes. Yeah, I mean, it just the EBV thing is kind of interesting too, because it actually does relate to this topic, because this is about balance. If we're too good at boosting the T regulatory cells and calming the immune system, then we could be compromising the body's ability to fight EBV. So it's all about moderation, balance. Could you let me know where I could find the new book you gave us related to reintroducing foods? Is that in the bonus section as well as the Facebook group? I'm not on Facebook. Would like to know how to access it. Thanks so much. Yeah, that book is in the bonus section of the 5-element program. Correct, Ross?
Yes.
Yeah, so just go to log into the program. Go to bonus. You'll see up in the top menu, there's a bonus option. Click on bonus and scroll down until you find it. It's there, and you just can download it from there.
It's called Reintroduction Guide, yeah?
Yeah, the Reintroduction Guide. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This person says, I'm still struggling with histamine reaction. So many foods, herbs I was doing and should be good are high histamine, cinnamon, lemon juice, etc. Not ready to reintroduce till skin totally clears. Any idea for herbal formulas that could help with this? Have not done DOA, but using pea sprout shoots, supposedly high in DOA. Okay. And naturopathic type allergy formula with quercetin, NAC. Would be interested in NAC. Would be interested in a. I'm not so sure what that last sentence is. Okay. I mean, yeah, with histamine it is really tough. I mean, I definitely think histamine is related to this oral tolerance issue too. Like, I think it's an enhanced sensitivity, right? So, I think we've got to look at some of these things. Maybe this Chinese herbal formula may be a good thing for you to try. With that, yeah, I mean, DOA pea sprouts is good. What she's referring to is I believe DOA is an enzyme. Or something. Often people who are histamine intolerant are low in DAO, not DOA, DAO, and helping to boost that can help with that. I mean, I think you have to, in theory at least, we've got to work on healing the gut, and we got to work on other approaches to calming this immune reaction. So what other things could we do? If you haven't already, could you review sprouting, how it might help us? What specific sprouts are best for us to say we want to do we only do 3 of them for convenience? Enzyme, yeah. Diamine oxidase, yeah, thank you. DAO. Yeah, I mean, sprouts, I don't know which 3 I would choose. I mean, I would say broccoli sprouts would be a good one. perhaps, oops, there's my phone, sorry. Let me hang that up. Be right back.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, the top three sprouts. I like alfalfa sprouts too. Broccoli sprouts, I would say.
Brussels.
I mean, you think about Brussels sprouts. Those are good. I mean, there are different things to sprout too. We're talking about what seeds in particular. So I think we want to look at things that give us benefits. So peas are another good one to sprout. Broccoli sprouts would be good. Think about what are the health benefits of those particular sprouts. So peas, broccoli. I don't know what a third one. I like radish sprouts too, personally. I don't know. You'll have to experiment there. Review sprouting. So how we sprout? I mean, you want to use filtered water. Don't use tap water, and soak for a couple of days. They do. Most health food stores have sprouters you can have, but you don't really need that. You just first put in a little water and then put them on in a container where they will continue to sprout. Pretty simple process. Do you have any thoughts about getting Chine Song or using essential oils for the gut? What is Chine? I'm not familiar with Chine Song. What is that exactly? Essential oils for the gut. I mean, the problem with essential oils in the gut is like, how do you get them there? Some people do put them into gel caps to get them down in there. So that's one possibility. But you're not going to put them in your mouth and hope to get them in the gut. They're not going to, generally won't go down that far unless they're in some kind of capsule or something that will allow them to go undigested that far. But it's hard to get essential oils in the gut. I mean, one thing you can do, I think when I was looking into the CBD oil, the cannabidiol, they have a suppository that they say is very popular that people use. So, for the colon, a suppository is another thing to consider. You've got to be careful with essential oils because they're very potent sometimes, and you want to, again, always do no harm. Make sure you're not taking anything that's going to kill the good bacteria. But for the colon, a suppository is something to consider. What is Chine Song? Oh, Chine Song is abdominal massage. Okay. I was thinking about essential oils on the skin. Oh, okay. Yes. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think absolutely stimulating that area and rubbing essential oils there. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. Yeah, I think that's an excellent idea. Because getting blood flow there, draining the lymphatics around the gut, so it's very, very good. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I think CBD oil would be good topically for leaky gut. And it's interesting, I've been looking at a lot of research on CBD. One thing about cannabidiol, it's like really kind of opposite of THC. And one study I saw, it's basically looks like it's a Th1 stimulant. So potentially, I'm not sure it would be a good idea. Actually, I mean, I think it has benefits. I think there are good things. It does show some promise for some things with autoimmunity, but I was really kind of surprised. Yeah, it's interesting too because when I found a company that makes really excellent quality CBD oils. Some of us have tried them. I tried some of that, and they're good. But then I found this research, and like one of the things he promised me was to give me all this research, and that he's stopped. Like he refuses to give it to me now because some of the research is not all positive with regard to autoimmunity. So again, CBD without THC may not be the better. The THC seems to be more have more positive immunomodulating effects. So yeah, maybe an oil with THC in it, a mix, would be good topically for the gut.
So that's available in the store now.
Yeah, we have the CBD. We have the CBD alone. There's no THC in it.
Oh, right, sorry.
Yeah.
They took the fun out.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be licensed and everything to sell the THC. But CBD, you don't. But, I mean, there's still benefits to it, but we got to. I did find that in the research. So the jury's still out. I'm going to do an epic post on CBD too at some point here. I've got a bunch of research that I've collected. Other thoughts, questions, comments? Yeah, I really like that idea of abdominal massage for sure. I think it's an excellent idea.
Yeah, show your gut some love from the outside.
Show your tummy some love, yes. Yummy, 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 I got love in my tummy. Anise, cardamom, cinnamon, fennel, ginger, peppermint, tarragon are all oils I read were good for gut healing. Yeah. I mean, again, seeing what we've seen with cinnamon in the research, I mean, I would say cinnamon, absolutely. I mean, these are all warming too. Notice that, right? Like cardamom, ginger, cinnamon, fennel, even some degree. These are all warming herbs. So, yeah. I think they're all excellent. I would say, maybe start out with choose one and see how you do with it. Mixing too many, it's hard to see if you react poorly to one or another. It's hard to know which one it is. So maybe test them individually first. But I mean, I think there's an argument for all those. A lot of these are digestive herbs too, right? Fennel, ginger, cardamom, anise, these are all digestive herbs as well. So a lot of potential benefit there. Yeah, I would say experiment. Try it. Try it and report back to us. I want to know what happens. And that's a delicious blend right there that you mentioned.
Okay.
I would love to smell that one.
Yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, I mean, cinnamon in particular, really a lot of benefits for the gut. Ginger too, really. Ginger has a ton of benefits. It's anti-inflammatory. It's good for stomach acid. Boost stomach acid. Good for bile. Rub that around the stomach and the liver. Also orange.
I've started adding ginger root to the brine when I make pork chops.
Oh.
It's awesome.
That sounds good. With pork chops, you said?
Yeah, I brine them for 4 hours minimum.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds delicious.
It is. I love pork chops.
I haven't had pork chops in ages. I used to love those when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
I make them once or twice a month.
Okay, can you speak about what we can do when we go into hyperthyroid mode to calm us down? Okay. What, I think you got to try and determine what's causing that. If it's a flare-up, one of the things to do, any quick, easy things that can shift the energy easily. I mean, you got to find what's causing that. Is it caused by a response to something? Are you having an immune response to something that's causing that sort of flare up, or is it something else? I mean, the quickest way to solve the problem is figuring out what's causing the problem. There could be a number of reasons for going hyper, but one of the common ones with Hashimoto's is that you're having an immune response. So quick and easy, just limit your variables, cut things out, simplify, and then do something to calm inflammation, like turmeric, or even we were talking about the glutathione cream, rub it right on the thyroid. In the moment, okay. In the moment when hyper's happening, well, breathe, breathe. Try and calm yourself down. And I think breathing, meditation. Are you doing a morning meditation? I would recommend working on that. But yeah, I mean, just sitting quietly and breathing, try to get away from stimulation. Put your phone down, get away from the computer, get away from the lights. The hyper reaction is stimulatory, so you want to do whatever you can to minimize stimulation. Have something calming and relaxing. I don't know, depending on where you are, you can maybe have some tea, chamomile tea, or yeah, but I mean, letting go of identification with the feeling helps me a lot. Okay, that's a great one. Yeah, remember that. Yeah, thoughts are not real necessarily. Feelings are not real necessarily. They're just something you're experiencing. And again, that's the practice of meditation. Helps us with that, with letting go. So, yeah, practicing letting go of that feeling. It will pass. So work on that experience of acceptance and letting things pass. And that quiet meditation, seated meditation, is a way to develop that skill. For sure, but that's a great suggestion. Use Streamer 551. I love that. But again, I mean, there's a reason for it, so you got to get to the bottom of why, because it's not happening for no reason, and that's critical. And there are a ton of potential reasons why. I mean, figure out what it is. Also, how much caffeine you're having. Think about that, too. It's one of those obvious things. And your adrenals, how are they doing? Okay, any other questions? Any other thoughts? Any other comments? Got some good ones here so far. Anything over here in the... I posted a question over here on Facebook before. Yes. People are quiet today. Thinking about all of this. Contemplating our next move. It's exciting stuff. It really is. Any other thoughts? Any other comments? Any other suggestions? Any other ideas? Oh yeah, we're gonna do another one. We're gonna do another one next week. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I kind of suspended the program to just go into this stuff.
Like 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks. I mean, I just think it's so important that I think it's worth doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, yes, we will extend into next week. Also, what if we haven't used our times with you? Can we use them after? Yeah, of course. I mean, those are still open. So yeah, schedule a time with me. Let's talk. Absolutely. I'm not going to. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about this, so that's the more important thing to me. Is, are we learning stuff? Are we applying it? Are we getting better? I think everyone, without exception, has shown improvement in many areas. Amy lost audio. Ross, you still have audio?
He checked. I got muted when I'm on the phone with you. Are you getting better? I have everything.
Yeah. I thought you spent an opportunity for an individual talk. Yeah, I spent the opportunity for free talks. Yes. If you purchase the program, you absolutely are entitled to speak with me and to work with me. So I'm no longer doing the free talks.
The free consultation.
The free consultations, right? Yeah. Yeah. But other than that, you're entirely okay. Yes, thanks for added content, extra research to advance the program. Yeah. I mean, that's our mission here. Is like, there's always so much to work. Didn't work for Amy. It's weird. Everyone else seems to have it. Okay, great. I did not understand. I purchased the program. How do I schedule? Send me an email at mark@hashimoto'shealing.com, and I'll send you a link to schedule. Also grateful. Yes, you guys are welcome. Of course. It's good stuff. It's important stuff. And I can't tell you, I did this post to Facebook, the blog post, and I think it's the most popular post I ever had was this oral tolerance post. So really interesting how important this information is for people. Yeah. So Licio, send me a email. I'm not going to ask your speakers to turn on. Yes. Again, in case you didn't get that from me speaking, here, Mark at Hashimoto's.com. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I definitely want to speak to you if you haven't spoken to me yet. Yeah, and if you are just joining us, make sure you go back through the program and watch all the other videos and all the other content. There's a ton of great content. We've been through a bunch of it, but a lot of good stuff there.
And a lot of good resources.
A lot of great resources. Yeah. What are your thoughts on iodine in Hashimoto's? I read that raw dairy can have iodine in it because they use it to clean containers. Oh, really? That's interesting. I wasn't aware of that. I mean, iodine in Hashimoto's, it's a very complicated question. There's no question the thyroid needs iodine to produce thyroid hormone and to function properly, but for many people with Hashimoto's, or at least some people with Hashimoto's, they do very poorly with iodine. I've had a number of patients who were treated by their practitioner with an aggressive iodine treatment, and they became very, very sick. And it took us quite a while to get them to recover. So I just think we have to be extremely cautious with iodine, and it's not something that you should do, even if you do decide to do it aggressively. Like some of the protocols for iodine call for high-dose iodine. I think it's absolute insanity, really. I'm not a big fan of the Brownstein method and some of these other approaches. I mean, I think I think we want to look at dietary sources of iodine. I think whenever you do iodine, you want to test first to see if you do in fact need it. If you do in fact need it, then I'm okay with supplementing. But then you have to keep track when you're supplementing. Like you have to test, see its impact on the thyroid. You got to see how it's impacting antibody levels, how it's impacting TSH, how it's impacting thyroid function. And often you'll get a major spike in TSH and antibody levels, and sometimes that's transient, sometimes it's not. So you got to keep track, and you got to, it's got to be done in a smart way, not just like take iodine because it's thyroid. That's idiotic. Could you give a hypothetical example of when iodine is great for Hashimoto's? What their particular situation was? Was there a hypothetical example of when this is good? No, it's not about symptoms. It's about test. Test to see what your iodine levels are. If you don't have low iodine, then it's not a good idea. Period. I mean, test. You can do a urine test. You can do a blood test. There's a number of different ways to test iodine. An iodine challenge. Putting it on your skin to see if you need iodine and it gets absorbed is not a good test. I don't think the patch test to me is no, that's not a good test. Do an iodine challenge with urine or with the serum in your blood and see what your levels are. Iodine will be absorbed by just about everybody if you do a patch test. It's not a good test, in my opinion. It's not good because it's not really a measure of anything. I mean, everybody will absorb iodine, and like there's so many variables. Like it doesn't tell you how much. I mean, whether it's fast or slow is not a measure of how much iodine you have in your body. It just isn't. It's kind of it's like a wives' tale. I think it's complete nonsense, really, honestly. Yeah, 24-hour iodine loading urine test is the standard of care. Exactly. The patch test is not a reliable test. If you had a urine test and iodine is low, would you automatically supplement? Would you start with a low dose? Any thoughts on nano iodine versus regular iodine? Yeah, okay, so if you do the urine test and your iodine is low, then that's an instance where you can consider supplementing, yes. I would start out with a relatively low dose and build up. And again, I would be testing throughout to see the impact on the thyroid. I mean, nano iodine is thought to be better absorbed, as far as I understand. I'm a little leery of nanotechnology in general. I think it's not well tested. We don't have a lot of data on it, so I just would be cautious. But yeah, I would start with low dose and then monitor and see how you're doing. And then, of course, do it for a period of time, and then retest your iodine, do another urine test, and see with what you did, what the results were. We have to, you have to keep track. It's not just do it and then not check. Yeah. And you got to keep track of your symptoms too. I mean, like, how are you feeling when you're doing it? Because it can definitely cause a flare-up of autoimmunity too. Yeah. Yes. What would be times where you wouldn't supplement with iodine if someone tests low with urine? That's a good question. I would just look in the context of what, if someone's really flared up and they're having a lot of symptoms and their autoimmunity is not well controlled, they're not managing it well, and they're, they've got a lot of other confounding factors, I would I would not put iodine supplementation at the top of the priority list if someone has poorly managed Hashimoto's in the midst of a flare-up and their adrenals are drained, their gut. You got to look at everything else that's going on. So I would address those issues first and then consider supplementing with iodine. Again, try some food sources in that situation too. The body needs iodine, but it doesn't need a great deal of iodine. That's the other thing. Physiologically, a very small amount is what our body uses. Right, and right, whenever you do iodine supplementation, it's really important with selenium to have adequate amounts of selenium and zinc. Very good point. Silicio. Very valid point. That helps mitigate some of the bad reactions for some people. Some people, still, even with selenium and zinc, they still have bad reactions. So, not 100% guaranteed, but yes, that is suggested. All right. Well, I think we are just about out of time. So I'll take a couple more questions and then we'll wrap things up. If the autoimmunity is under control, does that mean that if you supplement, you won't be hurting the thyroid and setting for more attack? No, it does not mean that. You have to test and see what the reaction is. And you got to monitor the effect on the thyroid. You have to test TSH and antibodies and T4 and T3 and see what happens when you supplement with iodine. Like, you have to assess as you go. Would be the symptoms of taking too much selenium. It's a good question. I don't know what this, let's see. I don't know what selenium toxicity symptoms are off the top of my head. Nausea, vomiting, nail discoloration, brittleness, hair loss, fatigue, irritability, foul breath odor, often described as garlic breath. Interesting. Excess selenium has symptoms that are similar to hypothyroidism. Hair loss, fatigue, irritability. Wow. Foul breath odor, like garlic breath. Very interesting. Those are the symptoms. Huh. Bet you there's some people taking too much selenium out there.
What was that?
I said I bet there's some people taking too much selenium.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't know about hair loss. That's a really, really interesting symptom of selenium toxicity. Very interesting. See? I love getting questions because when I don't know the answer, I learn stuff.
That's how you learn.
That is how we learn, exactly. Okay, so I'm going to take a couple more questions. And then we're going to, who is Anonymous 35941? Could you tell me your name? Who are you? I am curious to know. Listening to Dr. T's K is talking brain issue with gut healing. Any suggestions for T1, T2 balancing and whether to take vitamin D3 supplementation? Do you mean TH1 and TH2, or are you talking about T2, like, those are different things? Christine, oh, hi Christine. TH1 and TH2 balancing is a very complicated issue. I would definitely D3 supplementation and glutathione both help with the regulatory part of the immune system. That helps with that. Th1, Th2, which I assume you're referring to, are, you know, kind of have a yin-yang relationship. There's a number of things that stimulate them, a number of reasons why either one or the other or both could be overstimulated. I mean, part of what we're talking about with oral tolerance is, you know, often we want to reduce Th1 and Th17, and sometimes boosting Th2 will help do that. But that's a big issue. That's not a quick answer. So, I mean, first you got to assess, are you Th1 or Th2 dominant? And if so, I think the first step is to avoid those stimulants, and then work on other parts of the immune system, like the regulatory part, which vitamin D3 and glutathione are helpful with. Again, with vitamin D, you want to test, see what your levels are. Vitamin D is another thing that has kind of a Goldilocks zone. If you do too much, it's not good either. No immune factors in brain.
I don't know what that's in relation to.
I'm not sure what you're talking about. I don't know what you mean by no immune factors in the brain. So no, it's not Th1 and Th2. It's T1 and T2 immune factors in the brain. I don't know. Could you say more about that? I'm confused by your question then. Not sure what you're asking me.
Type it in.
I mean, what's that?
I'm going to type it in. Oh, there we go. That's probably Th1 and Th2.
Okay, so Th1, Th2, then yeah.
Should have had it come after the no. Okay.
Okay, so I mean, I spoke about that. That didn't answer that question.
Yeah. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, Th1, Th2, again, you got to identify, if you have intolerance to them, you can challenge them. You can take, if you read my book, there's I tell you what herbs are Th1, Th2 stimulants and how to challenge them. Yeah. It's all there. In black and white. In black and white.
And some color.
Okay. And some color. All right, people. So I think we're good for now. I think it's a good place to end it. Yeah, it is a big issue. There's not a simple answer to that. Yeah, I mean the immune system, the brain is very interesting because the microglia have no real off switch. They don't have regulatory balancing functions in the same way the immune system the rest of the body does. So the brain immune system, we got to do a lot to reduce inflammation in the brain. That's a project that never ceases. We have to keep working on keeping inflammation out of the brain, because that's what brain fog is. Brain fog is brain inflammation, and often it's caused by an inflammatory response of the immune system in the brain, the microglia. So interesting topic. All right, people. Great hanging out with you as always. Have a wonderful evening. I'm Mark Ryan, licensed acupuncturist Nobles from Hashimoto'sHealing.com. Remember to be good, be kind, and remember to have compassion for everyone. And tolerance, including yourself. We will see you next time. Next week we'll be doing a final bonus wrap up, and I'm sure I will speak to you individually. Those of you who I've not spoken to, make sure you schedule me, shoot me an email, and we'll set it up. Have a good one. Okay, I'll answer these last two questions. Do you think neuroflam is enough to keep inflammation down? Yeah, neuroflam is very helpful for the brain. But there's a lot of important things to do in addition to that. And stress, we want to have stress. The brain needs three things. It needs sugar, it needs blood flow, it needs stimulation, and it needs really good stress management. But that's another topic for another day. We will talk about brains as we go. I've got a great program called Save Your Brain, too. A lot of good information. So have a wonderful evening. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.